Sunday, February 8. Your word I have hidden in my heart. Read Psalm 119, verses 1 to 16, and verses 161 to 168. How should we keep God's commandments? And what are the blessings that come from doing that? Psalm 119, beginning at verse 1. Blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walk in the law of the Lord. Blessed are those who keep his testimonies, who seek him with the whole heart. They also do not iniquity. They walk in his ways. You have commanded us to keep your precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep your statutes. Then I would not be ashamed when I look into all your commandments. I will praise you with uprightness of heart when I learn your righteous judgments. I will keep your statutes. Oh, do not forsake me utterly. How can a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed according to your word. With my whole heart I have sought you. Oh, let me not wander from your commandments. Your word I have hidden in my heart, that I might not sin against you. Blessed are you, O Lord. Teach me your statutes. With my lips I have declared all the judgments of your mouth. I have rejoiced in the way of your testimonies, as much as in all riches. I will meditate on your precepts and contemplate your ways. I will delight myself in your statutes. I will not forget your word. And verses 161 to 168. Princes persecute me without a cause, but my heart stands in awe of your word. I rejoice at your word as one who finds great treasure. I hate and abhor lying, but I love your law. 7 times a day I praise you because of your righteous judgments. Great peace have those who love your law, and nothing causes them to stumble. Lord, I hope for your salvation, and I do your commandments. My soul keeps your testimonies, and I love them exceedingly. I keep your precepts and your testimonies, for all my ways are before you. The Bible depicts a daily life of faith as a pilgrimage or walk with God in his path of righteousness. The life of faith is maintained by walking in the law of the Lord, as we read in Psalm 119, verse 1, and by walking in the light of your countenance in Psalm 89, verse 15. Let's check that one. Blessed are the people who know the joyful sound. They walk, O Lord, in the light of your countenance. These are by no means two different walks. Walking in the light of God's countenance implies upholding God's law. Equally, walking in the law of the Lord involves seeking God with the whole heart, as we read in verses 1, 2, and 10 of Psalm 119. Being undefiled in the way is another way the Psalms describe the righteous life in verse 1. Undefiled describes a sacrifice without blemish that is acceptable to God, as you read about in Exodus 12, verse 5. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You may take it from the sheep or from the goats. Likewise, the life of the righteous individual, which is a living sacrifice, is to be undefiled by love for sin. We read about that in Romans 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. A life devoted to God is also a perfect way, meaning that the person assumes a right direction in life that is pleasing to God, as we read in Psalm 101, verse 2 and 6, which I'm reading this time from the NIV. Verse 2, I will be careful to lead a blameless life. When will you come to me? I will walk in my house with blameless heart. And verse 6, my eyes will be on the faithful in the land, that they may dwell with me. He whose walk is blameless will minister to me. And we also look at the same time at Psalm 18 and verse 32. It is God who arms me with strength and makes my way perfect. Keeping God's commandments has nothing to do with a legalistic observance of divine rules. On the contrary, it consists of a good understanding of the difference between right and wrong, and good and evil. As we read in Psalm 111, verse 10, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all those who do his commandments. His praise endures forever." And we're also redirected here to 1 Chronicles chapter 22 and verse 12. "Only may the Lord give you wisdom and understanding, and give you charge concerning Israel, that you may keep the law of the Lord your God." And it involves the whole person, not merely outward actions. Being undefiled, keeping God's commandments, and seeking God with the whole heart are inseparable attitudes of life, as we read in Psalm 119, verses 1 and 2. God's commandments are a revelation of God's will for the world. They instruct people on how to become wise and to live in freedom and peace, as we read in verses 7 to 11 of Psalm 119. "I will praise you with uprightness of heart when I learn your righteous judgments. I will keep your statutes. Oh, do not forsake me utterly. How can a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed according to your word. With my whole heart I have sought you. Oh, let me not wander from your commandments. Your word I have hidden in my heart, that I might not sin against you." And then verse 133, "Direct my steps by your word, and let no iniquity have dominion over me." The psalmist delights in the law because the law assures him of God's faithfulness. As you read in Psalm 119, verse 77, "Let your tender mercies come to me that I may live, for your law is my delight." And verse 174, "I long for your salvation, O Lord, and your law is my delight." Great peace have those who love your law, and nothing causes them to stumble, we read in verse 165. The image of stumbling depicts moral failure. As the lamp to the psalmist's feet of verse 105, God's word protects us from temptations, as we read in verse 110. "The wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I have not strayed from your precepts." And so to finish today, how did Christ demonstrate the power of God's word in his life? Well, we'll read Matthew 4, verses 1 to 11. "Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, afterward he was hungry. Now, when the tempter came to him, he said, 'If you are the Son of God, command that these stones become bread.' But he answered and said, 'It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God.' Then the devil took him up into the holy city, set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, 'If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down. For it is written, he shall give his angels charge over you, and in their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone.' Jesus said to him, 'It is written again, you shall not tempt the Lord your God.' Again the devil took him up on an exceedingly high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, 'All these things I will give to you if you will fall down and worship me.' Then Jesus said to him, 'Away with you, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only you shall serve.' Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him." What should this tell us about the power that comes from a heart set on obeying God's law? This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.